story you are about to see is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Thank you very much. Well, good afternoon. I want to thank all of you for being here. What a great crowd. My voice holds. We'll be in good shape today. Let me thank the Hispanic Chamber and all of the people who are here, the sponsors, for making this possible. This is a great day and a great event for the Hispanic Chamber. I want to take this opportunity to introduce to you the lady who's been by my side for over 55 years, my wife, Thetis. I'm so glad she's here today. We have a number of county officials elected and appointed here and county employees. First of all, let me ask my partners on the Commissioners Court to please stand and be recognized. Would the Commissioners please stand, please? Thank you for being here. Thank you. Now I'd like to ask all elected, appointed, and county employees to please stand. We appreciate so much your being here. Would you please stand? Thank you very much. I'm delighted the mayor of Corpus Christi and her council are here. Mayor, thank you for being here. And there's a lady somewhere buried in this crowd who has been with me almost as long as my wife. For 38 years, Claudia Lobel has worked side by side with me, and she's a great partner in what I do. Claudia, where are you? I know you're here somewhere, and I appreciate so much what you do. On your table, you'll find a card that talks about the mission statement and the vision of the county. I want to ask you to pick that up, if you would, while you finish eating, because I'm going to talk about that a little bit. You may not be able to see that on the screen, so that's why I've got it here for you. Today, many people ask me, what the heck does the county do? Because we're not as visible as some of the other governmental agencies. The county is the constitutional safety net government in Texas. And what does that mean? That means that everything we do is allowed by the 1876 Constitution or amended or by statute by the legislature. If it's not there, we can't do it. So the mission of the county is here before you. I want to take just a minute and talk about that mission because it's very important that everyone understands the team that we have of elected and appointed officials in Nueces County that make county government work. First, the sheriffs, Jim Kalin and his staff, run the jail. They are the chief law enforcement officer. He is the chief law enforcement officer in Nueces County. Jim and his staff and his employees and the constables and their staff make up law enforcement in the county. And they get about a third of our county budget. Running the jail is a huge, big job. And I want to congratulate the sheriff and all of his people for doing an outstanding job. He took over a few years ago when we couldn't say that. We certainly can say it now. Jim, you guys do a great job. About a third of our county budget goes to support the courts. There are 8 district courts, 5 county courts at law, 8 justice of peace courts in Nueces County. About a third of our budget goes to that. Along with that, last year, the taxpayers of Nueces County paid $3.6 million in indigent defense costs. Those are costs associated with people who come before the bench and say, I don't have an attorney, and we have to furnish them one. We received about 20% of that back from the state. That left us about $3 million in the hole. That is the largest unfunded mandate on counties in the state of Texas. We are required by law to furnish that. Any of you who watch Law and Order, and Thetis says that's all I watch on television. But any of you who watch Law and Order, every time they arrest a bad guy, they handcuff him or her and say, if you don't have an attorney, one will be furnished for you. Well, you are the furnishers. You pay for that. That's a cost of government in the state of Texas, and particularly in Nueces County. About a third of our budget goes to what I call general government functions. We have a lot of those. We have the district clerk here, the county clerk here. We have the DA. The DA runs the largest law firm in Nueces County. We have the county attorney. We have a civil county attorney, and we have a criminal district attorney in Nueces County. Both of them do great jobs. They'll both tell you that we don't pay them enough and we don't furnish them enough. But at the same time, I will tell you they do a great job, and the courts appreciate all that they do. Another part of our county budget goes to things like our veteran service officer, Toby Cross, who does a truly outstanding job. We have thousands of veterans in Nueces County in South Texas, and Toby serves every one of those. He does an outstanding job in doing that. We have public health responsibilities through the City County Health Department. We also have health responsibilities through the Nueces County Hospital District. You pay about 14 cents per hundred, which is about $32 million a year in cost to serve the indigent needs or healthcare needs of about 8,000 people. I'm going to be talking about that a little bit more in a few minutes. So our mission is very broad. We cover a lot of things. Our commissioners do a great job. They develop parks. We have a coastal park department. Scott Cross is our director. We have an inland park department. Abel Herrera is our director. All the other commissioners except Commissioner Chesney, are inland commissioners. And they do a great job. They develop parks. They serve the needs of the colonias, which is extremely important. They bring water to people who don't have water. Rebecca Rock and her people in our Human Services Department serve the needs of the really poor. Her office is right down the hall from mine on the 3rd floor. Every day, there's a line of people there who are looking for food, clothing, rent assistance, utility assistance. That's our job. That's one of our constitutional jobs, and Rebecca does a great job there. So that's just a snapshot of what we do in our mission in Nueces County. I want you to look at the vision statement. The vision statement is there. I'm not going to read the vision statement, but it's on your table. There are two key things there. The second paragraph, our vision is to maintain low taxes and a strong tax base, and we're committed to high quality growth in Nueces County. Our vision is striving for financial stability, transparency, efficiency, and effectiveness. And I think by and large, the court and all of our elected partners and appointed partners in Nueces County really commit themselves to these, because that's what our role is. That's what county government does. We are the closest government to the people in the state of Texas. Why do I say that? Because every county in Texas has a county judge and 4 county commissioners. Every county. Every county has a sheriff. I joke with Jim all the time. If you watch any of the old John Wayne movies, and John Wayne rides into town, and the first thing he says, "Hey, partner, where's the sheriff?" Where do you think they send him? They send him to the jail, right, Jim? So Jim understands that his first responsibility is to run the jail, and our first responsibility is to help him do that through the budget. But that's our vision, and I'm going to try to show you for the next few minutes what we're going to do with the goals that we have at the county to try to make sure that vision becomes and maintains a reality. So if you'll drag, oh, by the way, Jennifer Gragu, Dragon known to everybody else, is doing my work for me, and Jennifer, thank you very, very much. You won't forgive me for calling her Jennifer, but that's fine. Dragon, thank you for helping me. Okay. Here are the goals. I'm going to spend the next few minutes talking about these goals, some a little bit more than others, but I want you to understand our commitment both at the Commissioner's Court level and all of the elected officials in Nueces County who are committed to trying to make life better for the citizens of Nueces County. All the citizens, whether they are inside the city limits of Corpus Christi or Port Aransas or other incorporated areas, or whether they live in the unincorporated areas of Nueces County, okay? Economic growth is critical to the development of South Texas, Nueces County, of Corpus Christi, all of us in this region. We're committed to promoting economic growth. We're going to do it a couple of ways. One is, the first bullet there talks about improving and expansion of online filing and access to legal documents. Our county clerk and our district clerk are committed to making this happen. This is a key to moving us forward in Nueces County. The second bullet there talks about how the county commissioner's court can participate in things that encourage development, growth, and new business coming to Corpus Christi and Nueces County. The first one is pretty easy. The Attorney General of Texas just issued an opinion that we can't create a CTERS. We thought we could, but we can't. But we can join in tax increment financing agreements that cities form. And we have in the past as a county. But we're going to be looking very carefully at that in the future as to whether or not it's an advantage to the county to do so. The second one deals with tax abatement. Tax abatement is great as long as you get a return on your investment. And we are going to be looking very carefully as we move forward in the future, because when we give tax abatement, and we want to encourage large industrial growth in Nueces County. We want to encourage people to invest millions or hundreds of millions of dollars in Nueces County. But we do that at the expense of the individual and residential taxpayer over a period of 10 years. So if we're going to do that and continue to do that, we want to make sure, as Commissioner Chesty says, we get a return on investment. Well, what is our investment? It's tax abatement. It's giving up the revenue from property tax. And remember, counties don't get sales tax, and we don't get hotel motel tax. Our livelihood depends upon property tax. We're glad to be a partner in economic development, but we want jobs. We want good jobs. We want jobs that have benefits. We want them to stay here and develop here, and eventually, at some point, begin to pay taxes on the investment they've made. We understand that during construction there may be hundreds or thousands of construction jobs, and that's fine. And we want to support that to the best of our ability. But those jobs create potentially a lot of sales tax revenue and other things that don't necessarily fall to the property tax. So we're going to be looking at that. We're committed to helping grow. We're committed to doing that because we want to grow this community. We want good jobs, and we want good companies to come here and be a part of it. But we're going to have to be very careful in the future, particularly as the unknowns of this economy as we move forward, okay? Infrastructure is very, very important. For years, in Nueces County, we said we have not gotten our fair share of the TxDOT dollars for roads, highways, and infrastructure. Well, no longer can we really say that. Under the direction and assistance of the district engineer, Linus Graborsik, and his fine staff, we now have $175 million worth of highway construction in Nueces County and others on the drawing board. And this is important because most of this is along the I-69 corridor between Calallen and the county line going toward Clayburgh County. What is our commitment? What is your commitment as taxpayers in Nueces County? Over the last 3 or 4 years, we have contributed for right-of-way purchase about $3.4 million. And we're glad to do that because that allows TxDOT to come in and expand US 77 and extend the I-69 sign that we put up about a year or two ago in Robstown from Kingsville all the way to I-37. Why is that important? Because the I-69 designation opens up tremendous opportunities for moving goods and services and traffic and freight through this county and to the world markets. There's another project on the drawing board. It's going around Driscoll. That's about an $79 or $80 million project. That's shown on there. Hadn't been funded yet, but it will make the completion of the I-69 around that part complete when it is funded. We also have about $100 million of other projects going on inside the city limits of Corpus Christi and outside the city limits of Corpus Christi. None of this would be possible were it not for the support of TxDOT and Chairman Hunter and Chairman Herrera and Senator Hinojosa and all of you who have worked so hard to get us to a point where we're beginning to see the return of a lot of those dollars to Corpus Christi and Nueces County, okay? I want to talk a little bit about State Highway 361. For those of you who don't know where Highway 361 is, it's the start between Stripes and the American Bank on the island, and it goes to Port Aransas. That'll help most of you identify that. Highway 361 has been in the need of upgrades for years. Currently, starting in Port Aransas and coming back toward Corpus Christi, there's a project currently under construction, about a $13 million project. And if you go over there, you can see how bad it is and how good it's going to be. But it is important because Chairman Hunter announced about 3 weeks ago that another $11.6 million is being funded to extend that from Access Road 1 all the way to the Stripes American Bank intersection. Why is that important? Well, first, it's a $25 million investment. Two, it widens and puts safety lanes in that whole stretch of the highway. Three, it's a safety issue. We have tremendous amount of traffic now on that road, either during spring break or all way or year round. And four, it's economic development. Why is it economic development? Because it allows the free flow of people to come and go from Port Aransas to Corpus Christi to the island, and with the development of Schlitterbahn, it's going to be more important. Why does that make a difference to us? Because the city of Port Aransas has worked very, very hard over the last few years to build their economy and do different things. I will show you the next slide very quickly. I want to thank Ann Vaughn and her chamber board and members. I want to thank the mayor of Port Aransas and his city council. This is a quick chart, a quick snapshot of what's happened to hotel-motel tax over in Port Aransas the last few years. This is a year round. This is about $4 million now in the current year. Next slide, please. This is a slide that shows what they call the off-season increase. And as you can see, it's doubled in hotel-motel tax. Why is that important to Corpus Christi and Nueces County? Because it's an important part of our economy. And as Port Aransas grows and prospers and has an increase in hotel-motel tax or sales tax or property tax, the county grows. So I want to congratulate them. They're doing a great job over there. We're going to do our part as best we can to help them complete the upgrade of that whole area, of that whole highway infrastructure, and hopefully they will continue to add good property basis, good property values, and sales tax and motel tax to their particular city. Next. For years, we've been talking about the Harbor Bridge. The mayor talked about it in her city. I've talked about it up here. I want you to look at the bullet that's highlighted. Expected to award the contract conditionally in April of 2015. That's next month. This would not be happening, Mayor, and all of us, County Judge, San Patricio County, the port. It would not be happening if we had not put together a coalition of people to answer the call of the TxDOT commissioners when they said to us, we're going to help you build the Harbor Bridge, but you're going to have to put some skin in the game. We would not be here today talking about this were it not for Lonnie and his team, TxDOT and their team, Senator Hinojosa and the state vice chair of the Senate Finance Committee, Chairman Hunter, Chairman Herrera, and the commitment of this community being San Patricio County, the port, the city of Corpus Christi, and Nueces County. About a year ago, a group of us went to Austin and said, we want you to help us fund the Harbor Bridge. And they said, we're going to give you some money. At that time, it was $600 million. Senator Hinojosa now says it's $800 million. We'll take the 800. But they said, you're going to have to make a commitment. We want a $100 million commitment from the community. We came back, sat down together, and said, we can do this. Our part in Nueces County is $12 million. Last week, the Commissioner's Court authorized us going to the state infrastructure loan and borrowing the $12 million over a 30-year period. We don't have to start paying that back until the construction is completed. The interest rate is very good. We'll pay $3 million a year for the next 4 years. What does that mean to you? That means that along with the city, the port, and the San Patricio commitment, we're going to have a harbor bridge built, hopefully starting by the end of this year. It would not happen, okay? It would not happen. It wouldn't happen if we hadn't all come together. And I've been talking about regional cooperation forever. This is a perfect example, mayor and judge and port and us, of what happens when we do this. Look at that picture for just a moment. That's a picture, it may not look exactly like this. I can't get Lonnie to commit to that. But it may not look exactly like this, but it's going to look something like this. Do you see the bridge without the existing harbor bridge? All right? The bottom of that bridge is going to be taller than the top of the existing bridge. This is going to be a magnificent structure. It will be what everybody in the world would like to have for their city and their county. You will be able to see this bridge for miles. It will become the signature of Nueces County in this area. And it wouldn't have happened if we hadn't had great cooperation. So thanks to you and all the players, and particularly thank you, Senator Hinojosa. Serving as Vice Chair of Finance has some advantage in the Senate in Texas. But isn't that a great deal? That's taken from perspective of where we are. One of our goals for years has been to improve the county airport. 3/4 of you don't even know we have a county airport. It's located in Robstown. In 2009, the court reauthorized the appointment of the airport board, working with our commissioners, and hired Ruben Sines as our airport director, and we have begun to really develop that. Why is that important? Because it's an economic engine for the western part of Nueces County. Working with the city of Robstown and their inland port and the port of Corpus Christi, we're going to be spending some money over the next few years to continue to develop the Nueces County Airport. Last week, the commissioners authorized $3 million for us to use as matching funds. What do we want to do? We want to lengthen that runway to 5,000 feet. We want to be able to land small jets there. We want to build more hangars. We want to improve the terminal. San Patricio County has an absolutely fabulous regional airport. We're not trying to compete with Judge Simpson in San Patricio County or the Corpus Christi International Airport. We're trying to carve out a niche market for us because there's a market there. Over the last 4 years, our fuel sales have almost doubled, and our revenue from our hangars has increased about 60%. We think if we can get the runway extended, and here's the slide that shows you what we're doing today. TxDOT has a $1.3 million contract. They're repaving our runway. They're building some hangars. They're putting up a security fence. And Mike Pusley and our group have been going to Austin and working on getting our extension of 1,200 feet for the runway. We're going to work with Robstown. We're going to work with our commissioners. We're going to work with TxDOT. But it's a goal that we have in the county to make that a real economic asset for Nueces County and the western part of the county and all of this region. Okay. About 3 years ago, we had a surprise visit. It wasn't a surprise. They called me and said, we're coming. We had a visit from the Department of Justice. And the Department of Justice called and said, good news. Your county has been selected for an evaluation of your ADA facilities. That means a lot when the Department of Justice says, good news, you've been selected for evaluating your ADA facilities. They came down, 10-person team, spent a week here. About a year and a half later, we got the report. It's about this thick. And the report says you have discriminated in Nueces County against persons with disabilities. We don't agree with that. However, we are committed as a court to having full accessible facilities for every citizen of Nueces County. And as a result of that, we've come together with our elected and appointed officials. We've come together with the court, and we have begun a process to meet the challenges of the Department of Justice where they said we're not in compliance. This is going to be a very expensive journey. This is a big deal. We've already hired an ADA consultant. We've hired a legal ADA consultant. We just approved the contract on an independent licensed architect who has the responsibility of saying okay on anything we want to do. We're probably going to have to hire some more architects. We know we're going to have construction costs. We know we're going to have compliance issues. On every building Nueces County owns, on every building we use, on every polling site that the county clerk uses for any election, and there are 126 of them in Nueces County, have to meet 2010 ADA standards. Now you think about that. Most of the polling sites we use don't belong to Nueces County. They belong to the school district, they belong to individual owners, they belong to others. Kara Sands, the county clerk, began this week notifying some of the holders or the owners of the polling places, here's what you've got to do to bring your polling place up to 2010 ADA standards. They have two options. One of them is, go do something to yourself, I'm out of here. And the other one is, what's it going to cost and who's going to pay for it? If the county owns it, we're going to pay for it. If we don't own it, it's up to the owner of that building, if they remain a voting place, to bring their polling place up to ADA standards, our standards, ADA standards. So we expect over the next 30 months to have some very interesting conversations with a lot of people in Nueces County. We're committed to making Nueces County fully accessible. But by the time we get through hiring consultants and contractors and engineers and consultants and contractors and engineers, we're going to have a 30-month, and by the way, we have 30 months to get all this done. The Department of Justice has said you have to do this starting January 30th of this year in 30 months. So it's a very busy deal. We're going to be working every week. We've appointed an ADA coordinator, a member of our staff, Tyner Little. He's going to be working this. I'm going to be working this every day, every week from now on. We have great cooperation from elected and appointed officials. We couldn't get there if we didn't. We have great cooperation from our court. We have people on board to help us. But it's going to be done. We allocated this last week the first $3 million for compliance, and we have no idea what it's going to cost. And we may have to come back next year and the year after to see where we are. But we're going to be very busy bringing your facilities, your county facilities, your voting places up to standards. The good news is only one other county in the state of Texas got that call. That was Galveston County. Surprisingly, Galveston County and Nueces County were the only two counties that had difficulties in the redistricting process. So we're not saying it was coincidental, but it might have been. But we're going to comply where we have to, and we're going to do what we can to be in compliance, and we're committed to that. And the citizens of Nueces County have to know, and all of those who have polling places have to know, we're in for a long time, and it's going to be very expensive. Okay. We've been working on our countywide emergency management coordination. Danielle Hale and her assistant have been working for the last 2 years to reach out to everybody in this county and make sure we're all on the same page with the state and national emergency management requirements that we have. She's done an excellent job. We've had great cooperation from all the elected officials around Nueces County, but we're going to continue to work on that. because it's very important that when something happens, and I happen to be the guy that the buck stops here, like President Truman, the county judge is the chief elected official and the chief emergency management coordinator in every county in Texas. A part of that became true in Dallas County when they had the Ebola outbreak. And the second bullet there is address all phases of emergencies from natural, man-made catastrophes to include infectious diseases. A few months ago, we had a little Ebola scare here. We called together everybody. City County Health Department, we called together city, county assets, Coast Guard, we had port, we had everybody at the table in one room and said, we don't have a very good protocol for this, but we're going to fix that. And I want to thank all the parties, hospitals and medical providers, and I particularly want to thank the infectious disease crew at the City County Health Department. They have really stepped up to make this happen. We're going to fix it, we're working on it, but it's an area where we want to assure you as the taxpayers that we're really working on it, okay? Last week, the court approved $2 million for the expansion of the McKenzie Jail Annex. We've been looking at overcrowded conditions, and I will tell you, working with the sheriff and his staff, with the Sheriff's Association members, the Commissioner's Court, and the state jail standards people, we are in the process of having drawn up by our architects a way to convert the remaining space at McKenzie to 2 72-bed facilities. Then it will be up to us to determine when we use them, if we use them, and give the sheriff an opportunity to move around people and prevent or relieve some of the overcrowding. Most of you don't know, but the sheriff has to classify every prisoner that comes into the jail in a number of ways, both state and federal. This will allow him and his staff to have more space to do that. It's a safety issue, and we're committed to doing this. And we're going to do this as soon as we can, and probably over the next 18 months, we'll be prepared to do that. The current capacity of the jail is 1,068, I think. This morning, we were in good shape, about 88% with some in the holding cell. But if we do this, the really good news is that the sheriff will be able to go back to the federal marshals and say, instead of having 20 or 22 people, federal prisoners, in my jail at $65 a day, I want 40 or 60. So we can get an increase in the revenue side from federal prisoners if we do this right, which will help us offset the cost of doing this over a period of years. So it should be a win-win for everybody, and it certainly will make the sheriff's job a whole lot easier and his fine staff's job a whole lot easier. And the chief of police is here, and I don't want you, Chief, to go out and fill it up the first day. So give us a chance to do something with that. We have a healthcare crisis in Nueces County. This statement that you see on the slide is from the annual report of the hospital district. And it spells out exactly what we all know. We have a healthcare crisis in Nueces County. We have too many uninsured adults. We have too many uninsured adults in the state of Texas. We have too many uninsured here in Nueces County, and it's growing every year. And we're doing the best we can to fill that void. Texas has a per capita highest healthcare uninsured rate in the nation, and Nueces County has one of the highest healthcare uninsured rates in the state of Texas. And right out, as I said, this came right out of the hospital district annual report. There's a possible way to fix this. The Chamber of Commerce, elected officials, county commissioners court, healthcare organizations, all over the state of Texas have banded together this year and said, we want the legislature to look at the Texas way. I'm going to show you a couple of quick slides here what this means. It's not Medicare expansion. It's not Medicaid expansion. It's a different way of approaching the federal government to see if we can get some of your federal dollars back into Texas, back into Nueces County to help us alleviate this problem. And it is a problem. This may or may not work. We've not had much encouragement from the legislature. They certainly don't want to expand Medicaid. I understand that. But this program is designed to try to get some kind of block grant or something to come back to Texas to be distributed to people like Nueces County where we have approximately 25,000 uninsured adults between the ages of 18 and 64. And the advantages to us are two. One, you're paying for it twice. You're paying for it through the federal taxes you pay. Two, the hospitals and the healthcare providers are paying for it because they agreed with the federal government to reduce some of their charges because they thought they were going to get more people. And three, you're paying for it through the hospital district taxes, which this year are about $32 million, covering 8,000 people. I don't know where we're going with this. I don't know how successful we're going to be, but we're trying. And we've come together not only as a community of healthcare providers and leaders and chambers, but all across Texas. And we've gone to the legislature. Just last week, the mayor and I, many of from Corpus Christi, were there. I asked Joe Strauss, I asked the lieutenant governor, can you help us on the Texas way? No commitment. This morning's paper, 20 Texas senators said they're not going to expand Medicaid. Fine. We're not asking them to expand Medicaid. We're asking them to help you and me and taxpayers all across this state who are paying twice where there's a hospital district for coverage and still not meeting the needs of this community because the uncompensated care in this community is rising every day. And we need some help on that. And that's a major challenge for this county and for this state. And hopefully we can do something with the legislature this year. The governor has not committed either way. Maybe he'll stay that way. Maybe that's what we need, is no commitment to allow us to move. We talked to Todd Hunter. We've talked to anybody who listened when we were in Austin the other day. But it's a major concern. Now, you put on top of that over 80,000 diabetics in Nueces County, and we really have a healthcare crisis. The American Diabetes Association told me recently we have over 80,000 diabetics. That's a tremendous number. Many are uninsured or underinsured. We've done everything we can as a court. We've had seminars and we've sponsored all kinds of things in our county and Christus and everybody else. Hadn't worked yet because we need a commitment from the people of this county to change their lifestyle. We need a lifestyle commitment. We're going to keep working on it. American Diabetes Association is going to keep working on it. But we have to realize that over the next few years, if we don't figure out a way to do some of this, the cost of health care in this county and this state is going to be unmanageable. Unmanageable. On February the 3rd, an article appeared in the Dallas Morning News referenced Moody's. Moody's is one of the rating bureaus, nationally recognized. And these two people on there, their analytics chief economist and their managing director, issued a report that's about this thick, and I have a copy of it. And I have a copy of the Dallas Morning News article, which was sent to me, that said these two things. This is quoted right out of the article. One, if the price of oil stays around $50 a barrel for the balance of this year and doesn't go up, and other factors, Texas will not be in a recession, but, and they specifically say, Houston, Corpus Christi, Midland, and Odessa will be. Now, the price of oil today was $49.89 a barrel, $50. It is incumbent upon elected officials and leaders to plan for the unexpected. Nobody last July at $100 a barrel thought we'd be at $49 a barrel in March. Am I saying the sky is falling? No. Am I saying I agree or disagree with these guys? No. But I will tell you, they're smart guys. So it's incumbent upon, in my opinion, elected officials and leaders in this community to realistically deal with the challenge. We can't ignore it. We've been planning for the unexpected in Nueces County for years. How? We've been planning by reducing our debt by about $50 million. We've been investing in technology. We've been investing in our people. And as you can see, over the last 5 years, we've met or exceeded our goals in the county to have 25% of our general fund revenue as a fund balance. And that's good. And we're proud of that. But I'm not saying today that we need to run out of here and say everything's bad. It isn't bad. But real jobs are being lost in Corpus Christi, Texas today, affecting real people. I've had people in the county come up to me in the last few weeks and say, my husband lost his job this week. He was with X. They've closed the office, and it was a good job. Several of them have done that. So we all know people that are being affected. So what are we going to do as the county? Well, I can tell you we're going to enter the next few months cautiously. We're going to watch our collections very closely, and we think they're pretty good right now, but we're going to watch them very closely over the next few months. We're going to be looking closely at the appraised values that we get from the appraisal district, Ronnie, in July. That's going to tell us what he thinks the values are going to be so we can set our tax rate. And that's going to be very critical as we move forward in the next budget year. And more importantly, we're going to really be watching the price of oil for the next few months. I hope these guys are wrong. I don't see how they could be completely right or completely wrong. But we can't put our head in the sands in this community and say they don't know what they're talking about. We have to say they might be right. And if they are, then let's prepare for that in the best way we can. The state of the county is good today, and we want to keep it that way. And we want you all to leave this room knowing that that's what our goals are. And you've seen what our goals are and how we're going to get there. I want to show you this last slide. Indecision is a course of action. It is the decision to do nothing. I can promise you that your commissioner's court, your elected officials, and all of those who have important positions in the government of Nueces County are not going to do nothing for the next few months. We're going to be ready for whatever hand we're dealt, and we're going to be ready for whatever the economic conditions are, and we're going to govern in a very positive way to get the very best results we can for you and the taxpayers of this county. Thank you very much.